Think about the most expensive item in your closet. Maybe it is that $2,000 Italian leather jacket or a heavy-duty tactical backpack designed to survive a trek through the Amazon. You think you're paying for craftsmanship, for heritage, or for unmatched quality, but look closer. Look at that tiny 6mm piece of metal holding the whole thing together. Chances are, it says YKK. We live in a world obsessed with brands, yet the most successful brand on earth is one you probably never heard of, despite touching it dozens of times a day. This isn't just a business success story, it's a systemic glitch. We are taught that the free market thrives on competition, but the zipper industry is a cold, hard monolithic empire. Why? Because the zipper is the single point of failure for almost every physical system we use. If a button falls off your shirt, you're having a bad style day. If your zipper fails, the garment is dead, the bag is useless, the tent is a trap. This is where the corporate genius and the systemic gaslighting begins. In the mid-20th century, while other companies were trying to make zippers cheaper, a man named Tadao Yoshida was busy building a vertical integration fortress. He didn't just want to make zippers, he wanted to own the entire reality of the zipper. YKK doesn't just buy brass or plastic. They smelt their own brass, they forged their own polyester. They even build the machines that build the zippers. They controlled the supply chain so tightly that they became the standard of truth for the entire fashion industry. When a brand like Nike or Patagonia chooses a zipper, they aren't choosing YKK, they are surrendering to the fact that there is no other choice. To use anything else is to risk a 1-cent part destroying a $500 product. This is the invisible monopoly, a system so reliable that it becomes invisible, and a profit margin so deep it's built into the very fabric of our lives. To understand why it rules the world, you have to understand the philosophy of the cycle. Most companies build products to be sold. YKK builds a system to be the only one left standing. In the early days of the 20th century, zippers were a nightmare. They jammed, they rusted, and they would literally unzip at the worst possible moments, leaving you exposed in more ways than one. It was a mechanical failure waiting to happen. But then came the Japanese concept of monozu kuri, the art of making things. Here is the secret they don't want you to think about: total control. While your favorite smartphone brand outsources its screens to one country and its chips to another, YKK refuses to play that game. They don't just make the zipper, they make the machines that make the zipper. They even make the boxes the zippers are shipped in. By owning every single step of the genetic code of the product, they eliminated the glitch. When a manufacturer like Boeing or NASA needs a fastener for a flight suit or a specialized equipment bag, they don't look for the lowest bidder. They look for the system that cannot fail. Think about the sell-by dates we see on food. They are often just quality markers, a way for manufacturers to protect themselves and guarantee a consistent experience. YKK applied this same logic to metal. They decided that good enough was a liability. They engineered their teeth to interlock with a precision that borders on the subatomic. Just like the stones, the ballast, on a railway track, a zipper has to perform multiple jobs at once. It has to be a load-bearing foundation for the garment, a drainage system for moisture, and a barrier against the elements. If the stones on a track were smooth, they would roll away, and the system would collapse. Similarly, if zipper teeth aren't jagged and interlocking with surgical precision, the whole floating track of your clothing slides apart. YKK isn't just selling you a fastener, they are selling you the absence of anxiety. They've turned a simple mechanical friction, the locking effect, into a multi-billion-dollar safety net. They realize that, in a world of chaos, people will pay a premium for a system that just works. In the world of high finance, they talk about oil, microchips, and gold. But there is another currency that keeps the world moving, one that is measured in kilometers of interlocking teeth. Welcome to the era of Zippernomics. Just as early railway engineers used ship ballast, discarded stones from ancient sailing vessels to stabilize the tracks of the Industrial Revolution, YKK acts as the ballast for the $1.5 trillion fashion industry. Without these jagged stones of metal, the entire supply chain would lose its friction and slide apart. Why does a factory in Bangladesh, making shirts for a brand in London, wait weeks for a shipment of zippers from a Japanese-owned plant? Because in the global matrix, the zipper is a trust proxy. If a shipping company charges more based on the number of axles touching the ground to save on road wear and tolls, the fashion industry charges a premium based on the reliability of the fastener. A failed zipper isn't just a broken garment. It's a logistical nightmare that leads to mass returns, brand destruction, and billions in lost revenue. To avoid this, the world has collectively agreed to a systemic monopoly. This is the butterfly effect of the 6mm slider. Think about the lift axle on a heavy truck. When the load is heavy, the axle drops to distribute the weight so the road doesn't crush. YKK is the lift axle of the global economy. When the load of consumer expectation is at its heaviest, the YKK system drops into place, distributing the risk of failure across millions of units. But here is the street-smart truth: YKK's real power isn't in manufacturing. It's in standardization gaslighting. They have convinced the world that a zipper is YKK by being everywhere from the sell-by dates on your groceries to the floating tracks of the railways. The system ensures that no competitor can ever achieve the locking effect of their market share. They have become a global coordinate grid, much like how sailors and pilots use knots and nautical miles to align their math with the very geometry of the Earth. You don't use miles on the ocean because they don't fit the sphere. You do and use off-brand zippers in global trade because they do and fit the economic sphere of reliability. We aren't just wearing clothes, we are wearing a global contract. A contract that says, in exchange for a few cents more, we promise your reality won't hang open at the wrong moment. And in a world of uncertainty, that is a promise worth trillions. Let's be real for a second. We've been systemically gaslit into believing that a zipper is a high-stakes safety device. We treat a jammed slider like a mechanical failure on par with a derailed train. We've been conditioned to fear the glitch so much that we've surrendered our wallets to a single manufacturer without ever asking, is it really that hard to make 2 rows of teeth meet? The corporate world loves a good safety warning. Think about those expiration dates on your food. Most of them aren't even safety warnings. They read just quality markers designed to protect the manufacturer's reputation and keep you buying more. We throw away billions of dollars in perfectly good food because a printed date told us to panic. YKK does the exact same thing with your clothes. They've sold us the best before date of mechanical fasteners. They've convinced us that any other brand is dangerous, like unpasteurized dairy or fresh meat left out in the sun. Is a YKK zipper actually 10 times better than a competitor? Maybe, but the perceived risk is what they're really selling. It's like the sell-by dates on retail shelves there for the stores, not for you. Brands use YKK as a sell-by date for their own quality. Look, they say, we use the expensive zipper. We aren't trying to scam you, it's a placebo effect for your pants. We are like those truck drivers who flip a switch to drop an extra axle when the load gets heavy. When we buy an expensive item, we drop the axle of YKK to distribute the weight of our financial guilt. We tell ourselves, at least the zipper won't break, even if the rest of the jacket is made in a sweatshop with crumbling fabric. We crave that interlocking stability. We want our lives to be as porous as a layer of railway stones, allowing the rain of daily stress to flow through without turning our foundation into mud. YKK has positioned itself as that foundation. They aren't just selling metal. They're selling the illusion of a self-draining, weed-fighting, weight-bearing system for your wardrobe, the sarcastic truth. We are obsessed with a unit of measurement, the YKK brand, just as pilots are obsessed with knots because it matches a coordinate grid invented 400 years ago. We don't use it because it's the only way. We use it because we are too afraid to recalculate the math of our own comfort. So, what have we learned from the tiny piece of metal guarding your modesty? We've learned that the world isn't just built, it is designed to control. Just like expiry dates were created to guide quality and reduce risk, not to override your common sense, The YKK monopoly was built to standardize your trust. We've been taught to ignore our senses, our smell, texture, and appearance, and instead, trust a printed date or a stamped logo. We've traded our common sense for a manufactured standard. We look at railway stones and see just rocks, but they are a self-draining, weight-bearing engineering system. We look at a truck's lift axle and see a glitch, but it's a machine adapting to the laws of physics and the cost of business. And we look at a knot as just a word, but it's a measurement tied to the very geometry of the planet. The zipper is the final piece of that puzzle. It is the floating track of your daily life. The next time you pull that slider up, remember, you aren't just fastening a garment. You are engaging with a century-old system of total vertical integration. You are participating in a global contract of infallibility, but hear us the rebel truth. The system only works because we agree to let it be invisible. Once you see the stones beneath the track, once you understand why the tires don't touch the ground, and once you realize that the date on the lid is often just a suggestion, the matrix starts to crack. Don't let the labels hide the misunderstood truths. Understand what these systems really mean. If you're ready to stop being just a consumer and start being a decoder, hit that like button. Share this with someone who still thinks an expired yogurt is a death sentence. And subscribe to The Root Why, because we don't just scratch the surface. We find the root of the truth. Thanks for watching.